we really needed to come to the point where we figured out, well, at what level do the people here in Beltrami County want some sort of smoke-free ordinance?
It's a rights issue because the right of people to breathe clean air it supersedes the right of somebody to smoke in a public place.
When my family and friends go out to eat, it smells way better and it doesn't stink.
Beltrami County residents were out in full force tonight lobbying for and against the proposed no smoking ban.
It is government's responsibility to craft laws and policies that protect the citizens within their jurisdictions.
And as bar owners, as restaurant owners, you have a responsibility to provide a safe place for your customers.
The right of people to breathe clean air it supersedes the right of somebody to smoke in a public place.
We really needed to come to the point where we figured out, well, at what level do the people here in Beltrami County want some sort of smoke-free ordinance?
Most public places and places of work became smoke-free as of January 1st, 2005. One exception is that smoking is permitted in bars and restaurants between the hours of 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. In addition, smoking is allowed at all times in a designated smoking room that meets criteria of the ordinance and passes annual inspections. The B team is pleased that a number of prominent restaurants voluntarily went 100% smoke-free in 2005. This video is designed to provide a brief overview of the passing of the Beltrami County Smoke-Free Ordinance, its implementation, and valuable lessons learned. We hope this can provide an update for Beltrami County citizens as well as be a useful tool for other communities who are considering passing a smoke-free policy. The first step of this process was to assess the importance of reducing secondhand smoke exposure.
In the 70s, the health hazards of cigarettes were just becoming known. In the 90s, the health hazards of secondhand smoke were just becoming known. Today, we know just how poisonous cigarettes and secondhand smoke really are.
Since the Surgeon General's report in 1964, the American public has become increasingly aware of the health hazards associated with secondhand smoke. From research conducted by the National Cancer Institute, we now know that tobacco smoke contains 4,000 chemicals, at least 11 of which are known to cause cancer in humans. According to the Center for Disease Control, secondhand smoke is also responsible for the deaths of at least 38,000 non-smokers every year.
I do vascular surgery, so I tell people the causes of vascular surgery are 4 things: smoking, 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 and a bunch of other stuff. And it's true, I rarely see people with vascular disease who don't smoke.
Along with this evidence, an added benefit is the reduction of youth smoking rates.
One of the strategies that we know is effective is creating smoke-free workplaces. Because once you eliminate adults modeling the negative behavior of smoking, then you have an effect on reducing teen smoking as well.
The rate of smoking among middle school Bemidji students dropped between 1999 and 2004. 6th grade dropped from 18 to 13%, 7th grade from 18 to 11%, and 8th grade from 25 to 9%.
Biggest benefit for parents and for kids is the example that it sets, or the lack of a bad example in public. Families can take their kids out to eat without having to fight the smoke, and the children are exposed to a harmful habit and don't have the perception then that it is a normal behavior.
We would like to ban smoking in bars and restaurants so everyone can eat in peace and not secondhand smoke.
I think that when less adults are smoking in front of young kids or middle school or high school, that the kids won't do it as much or won't do it at all because they won't think that it's good or that it's cool or anything.
Next priorities were to determine a desire for a smoke-free policy and draft an ordinance based on input from health leaders, establishment owners, and the general public.
We've known that secondhand smoke has been a problem in Beltrami County for a long time, as it has been, throughout the state of Minnesota. And so when we originally came to that conclusion scientifically, we really needed to come to the point where we figured out, well, at what level do the people here in Beltrami County want some sort of smoke-free ordinance?
A 2002 survey of Beltrami County residents found 97% agreed secondhand smoke is a health hazard. In keeping with this, 79% responded in favor of implementing a smoke-free policy.
By August 2004, the County Board of Commissioners had completed the steps necessary to conduct a final vote on the smoke-free ordinance number 38.
It's official, Beltrami County will soon become one of only a handful of Minnesota communities to become smoke-free.
No.
No.
Yes.
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 The ayes have it, the yeses have it, the motion passes.
At tonight's regular county board meeting, commissioners voted 3-2 to implement the smoking ordinance. Under the ordinance, the county won't be fully smoke-free in indoor public places until January 1st of 2007. Until then, smokers can still light up from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. In a bit of a compromise, commissioners voted 3-2 to allow bar and restaurant owners to construct enclosed smoking rooms for their patrons. The issue has divided many in the county, with concerns over public health and private business rights pitted against one another.
I don't want it to hurt business. I don't want it to hurt tourism. I don't want it to put people out of business and take away their livelihood. I beg to differ to the extent that it's government interference with civil liberties and people operating private business. Having said that, that is my premise for voting against it.
It's a health issue and a rights issue, and it's a zoning ordinance. It's a health issue because the science is pretty clear. It's a rights issue because the right of people to breathe clean air it supersedes the right of somebody to smoke in a public place. And it's a zoning issue because we've crafted an ordinance that allows people to do what they're allowed to do, but they have to do it where they're not bothering somebody else. And so I think, and I've read several of the other ordinances, everybody likes to take a look at how they do something and think they've done it better. I think we've done a good job with this one.
The county board is the public health board for Beltrami County, and therefore we have an obligation to protect the public health. And when we had our public health nursing service tell us of the dangers of secondary smoke and how it was, in fact, literally killing people, and then we had virtually every doctor in the county, not once but twice, have their names on full-page advertisements in the paper telling us we should adopt such an ordinance. And then they took the time to come to the public hearings we had. My conclusion of that is that it was our responsibility as both the county board and the public health board to adopt an ordinance that would prohibit smoking in public places, workplaces, things of that sort. And so that's why I supported that. I think it was the right thing to do. In addition to that, most of the people I got input from my own district, which as you know is about 13 rural townships, was favorable. The people in my district generally supported this. So for all of those reasons, being representative of them, having the responsibility for public health, I supported that ordinance.
It's business as usual today for bars and restaurants in Beltrami County, with one noticeable difference. Between the hours of 3 a.m. and 8 p.m., you're not going to find an ashtray on any table or bar top. The ashtrays are put away as part of the county's new smoking ordinance, which took effect on Saturday.
Saturday morning when we opened up, we had first 5 tables in the door that day actually asked to sit in the lounge because they'd never been over there before because it had always been too smoky in the past.
It's something whose time has come. We're happy to see it, and I think for the Union Station anyway, I think it's the direction we want to go. I think that most of our clientele are going to be happy that we'll go non-smoking.
I'm so used to going home smelling like a big old cigarette by the end of the day, being all congested. Now I can go home and relax or go out somewhere else and not worry about stinking.
To celebrate the beginning of the ordinance, the Beltrami Tobacco Education Awareness Movement, known as the B Team, held a press conference today. While the B Team would have preferred a complete smoking ban, it is excited about the message the ordinance sends to its primary target.
It also makes such a powerful statement, again, to youth, that smoking is not an acceptable behavior.
Well, I'm a hostess, and I've had many people say, I'm so glad that you have gone smoke-free. I like going to restaurants now because I don't have to deal with the smoking. I love having a smoke-free ordinance.
I really applaud the Beltrami County Commissioners for their courage in implementing this ordinance and providing a smoke-free environment for members of this community. I think it's an incredibly positive role model for the rest of the state.
Well, 70% of Beltrami County voters say they favor the newly implemented smoke-free ordinance. That's according to a survey done by the Melman Group out of Washington, D.C. Several findings from the survey were released today by the Beltrami Tobacco Education Awareness Movement, also known as the B Team. Just one key finding was that 87% of residents go to restaurants and bars as often or more since the smoke-free ordinance went into effect on January 1st. The survey also shows that most residents are still patronizing local establishments.
The 2005 Melman Group survey also shows that 3/4 of Beltrami residents feel that the rights of customers and employees to breathe clean air outweighs that of an individual to smoke in an indoor public place. Additional research on public opinion and economic impact is planned. The goal of a smoke-free ordinance such as Beltrami County's is to create healthier environments for everyone.
I'm happy that they passed the ordinance. I like the idea of being able to go into restaurants especially and not have the residual smoke coming from the smoking section versus the non-smoking section. And I've worked in places where there's been no smoking for years, so I think the workers there deserve to have a smoke-free environment also. Feedback on the ordinance has been positive, and citizens are increasingly appreciative of the clean indoor air. However, there's still work to be done as we look ahead to Phase 2 of implementing the smoke-free ordinance.
Well, I would say it's had a minimum effect, really. We've had a few complaints. We have done some compliance checks. The officers have been out to some of the establishments, issued some warnings. I think maybe only a couple citations to people is all that's been issued. You know, I've been out to restaurants and noticed that prior to 8 p.m. there's no smoking, and I've been kind of paying attention to that when I've been out to eat. And I've also noticed that when 8 o'clock rolled around, you can start to smell smoke. I think maybe we've got a couple that have been a little bit stubborn about it. But those are the ones that we've done compliance checks with and taken appropriate action.
Probably the best advice that I could give to other communities would be before they start a process that they look and see what other communities are doing. Learn from their mistakes and also learn from the good ideas that other communities have had. I know that we struggled in our first round of the ordinance where we tried to adopt a difference between restaurants and bars in terms of allowing smoking in bars, not allowing it in restaurants, and this so-called 50% rule. And I think the commissioners really realized how difficult that was to do in terms of deciding whether a place that sells alcohol and food is a bar or is a restaurant. And I think they came to the conclusion that aside from the issues of the difficulty in deciding where that line is between those, is that it's really not fair to places that are very similar in terms of what they serve, with those being a little bit over the line in terms of their alcohol sales and a little bit under the line and having those distinctions. The comment that I think the commissioners heard the most from the public, from the restaurant and bar business, was that they wanted an even playing field. Even those that didn't want an ordinance said if you are going to do an ordinance, it needs to be even across the board so that everybody is treated the same. So you don't have people who cannot go to one establishment because they want to smoke and they can't, and then they're going to go to another establishment. So that basic fairness is probably the biggest thing that places could do when they're looking at their ordinances.
Well, Minnesota is a large state, and Beltrami County is a good example of a large county in a more rural part of the state that has taken this important issue on and has shown leadership. And the more counties that follow the lead of Beltrami County, the more likely we are to have a statewide law. So leadership in a very challenging, large environment is one of the reasons that Beltrami County will help protect all workers across Minnesota.
You know, I really like going out to eat without having to fight the smokers.
It's gross having the scent of smoke around while you eat your food.
Because if we don't take care of the youth, who's going to do it for us?
We make changes slowly in our society, and when it comes to smoking, we are certainly moving away from smoking in public places. We're moving away from smoking in the workplace compared to 20, 30 years ago. We don't have smoking in our sheriff's office. We don't have smoking in our county buildings. We don't have smoking in our squad cars anymore, and that's very different than 30 years ago. But it takes some time for all of us to get used to new things, but I can tell that that's the direction we're moving.
I like the smoke-free ordinance now in Beltrami County restaurants because being a former smoker, I not only taste my food better, I can smell it better.
When my family and friends go out to eat, it smells way better and it doesn't stink.
The new role, since the ordinance has been passed, the new role that the B team has taken is that we feel that we can enhance the economy of the area and make our businesses and economy even more successful than they were before. And so again, we've taken on the slogan, land of the great indoors and outdoors, that this is the place to come to vacation because you can enjoy both clean indoor and outdoor environments.
Please note that carcinogens are still in the air as long as all work sites are not 100% smoke-free. The real benefit will occur on January 1st, 2007, when the temporary exemption allowing smoking during certain hours will expire. At that time, smoking will only be allowed in designated smoking rooms. Beltrami County's comprehensive ordinance will also include smoke-free guest rooms in hotels and motels, rented or leased cabins at resorts, and dormitory rooms. The B team is grateful to the Beltrami County Commissioners, who also serve as the county's Board of Health, for being leaders in the progress toward a smoke-free Minnesota.